Eli Roth's Knock Knock, starring Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is a married man who, on Father's Day, his wife and 2 kids go to the beach and leave him home alone because he's an architect. But he's the Keanu Reeves of architects. So it's Keanu being Keanu in the film with Eli Roth. It's raining horribly. He is stuck on what to do, so he just finishes getting ready to smoke from his hidden pipe. He hides the pipe somewhere, so I'm assuming there's something not medicinal in it. 2 women knock on his door. They're soaking wet because, it's raining outside. And they're like, we're trying to get to so-and-so's house. Do you know him? And he's like, no. Tissue? From probably one of the world's coolest looking tissue dispensers. You can tell his wife does art. It's a super art deco, like spherical tissue entrapment device. And he's like, no, you guys can come inside because it's raining. And then it goes to that slow moment, slow thing of, well, here's some towels you can dry off. I'm like, oh, we put our clothes in the dryer. And he's like, well, I called you guys a cab, so be here in 45 minutes. And then they go through the process of essentially throwing themselves at him repeatedly. And as he like rebuffs, and then they become more aggressive. He rebuffs, more aggressive, rebuffs, more aggressive, rebuffs, until finally he relents. And the rest of the film from that moment on is essentially kind of psychological torture to him. And I'm thinking this is an Eli Roth film. I was waiting for, like the severe over-the-top violence, really good prosthetics. And I was like, oh, this is not the film that I was expecting. The females, you're like, okay, I guess they work given their role, but they just come off more bored. And like, this is a game to them, but not like, we're crazy! This is a game, it's just like, they're bored and this is what they do. And Keanu Reeves being the guy who cheated on his wife really develops no sympathy. So everybody is great. So it's a film that, the premise is very, very thin. And if you want to see 2 women like psychologically abuse Keanu Reeves in like a PG-13 love psychological abuse with some moments where it's R, but it's not R for violence, this is the film for you. Ironically, I'm going to go a little bit into spoiler because this doesn't happen in the film, but so 5, 4, 3, 2. He eventually does, of course, cheat on his wife with the 2 of them. What would have been a more interesting thing, because there's so many horror films that are psychological based where a married man cheats on his wife and then the women end up being crazy. Sometimes it's done well, other times it's not, and you're just like, alright, dude could have left like a dozen times. Or, and he pretty easily, like, well, it's 2 against 1. Yeah, but if they find out that I called a cab for you guys, and the cab's at the house, you never made it to the cab, or they think that I called a cab so I could sexually assault the 2 of you who came to my house. There's plot holes that are like Swiss cheese in this. I was more if you would have like entirely, fully rebuffed them, and even during a sequence towards the end when he finally relents, you'd have been like, no, here's your clothes, there's a cab, get out of my house. And then instead they would have, like broken down like later on at night, and then the rest of the film from that moment on, it would have made him the full sympathy, true victim character. Had they just tweaked that one little bit, instead of him being like, okay, it's less of an okay and more of a, well, I guess. Because it's Keanu. If you would have pushed them off that last time, they'd have been fully crazy, I think the dynamic would have been better, and they're kind of like, oh, I'm trying to think if I could have sympathy for the guy who cheated on his wife, but I know I don't have sympathy nor truly fully understand why these 2 girls are doing what they're doing. They give a rationale towards it, you kind of go, oh, okay. That doesn't quite work. And then when the family shows up, it's like, oh, the house is trashed. Huh. And Keanu's still buried out in the backyard.